Welcome back, everyone. In this video, I'm going to teach you the basics of chakras and the chakra system in your body. Now, and as we see, we've got chakras. Each the chakras started, at least the earliest known history of them, was in India, in the Vedas, which are like the spiritual texts of India, in the Vedic tradition, roughly 1500 to 1000 BC. And then we'll get started. And the neat thing is, it's thought, we all know of the seven chakras, right? The seven main chakras we're aware of, as my little meditating person over here is. Don't worry about him; he's a little imbalanced in the middle there. his solar plexus chakra is a little squished, but we know of the seven main chakras. But did you know there's actually thought to be over 100 chakras throughout the body? It's just the seven are the main kind of highway, the main artery for the body. It's the main channel for the energy to move up and down the body. But there are some in your hands, for example, in your feet, all throughout the body. Because these chakras are wheels. Think of a chakra as a wheel of energy or a spinning disc of energy. And the idea is that these energy centers of the body govern different things about our body. They have different characteristics, they have a different color, they have a different name and number, and they have, like I say, they tie into different organs, they tie into different parts of the body, muscularly and otherwise. And the idea here is that in a perfectly enlightened, healthy, superhuman being, every single one of our main seven chakras, as well as the other 100 or so, would be spinning, right? Spinning at full speed, and they'd be fully open. So a chakra can be open or closed or somewhere in between, somewhere between 0 and 100 on the openness and the closedness. And it's no issue if one's closed or open or whatever, nothing to worry about. We don't have to go run out and seek a shaman or something to get ourselves open and balanced. Part of our life's purpose, too, is in balancing ourselves out. And you can see this in just your own characteristics, which ones may be more open and closed. Like, for example, if your throat chakra happens to be closed or there's a dysfunction there, that can manifest on either end of the polarity. Again, law of polarity. You could either be someone who is shy and never speaks your mind and just lets everyone else run over you, or on the flip side of that, you could be someone who has the diarrhea of the mouth and you just talk and kind of over talk people. That is also a symptom of a malfunctioning throat chakra. When any of these chakras is out of balance, they can be out of balance in either direction, because think of the middle being where it's in harmony. A perfectly functioning throat chakra would be, you're respectful of others and let others speak, but at the same time, when you need to speak your truth and you need to speak your power, you speak it. You bring it out of the throat and you say it. But you're not on either end of the, out of balance spectrum. And all of these chakras have that. They all have their own balance of being, perfectly in balance versus, not being expressed or being overly expressed. Either way. In the same way that someone with an imbalanced sacral chakra could be like a sex addict on one hand, and on the other hand could be afraid of their own sexuality and not partaking in that because of fear or whatever kind of a hang up they've got with the blocked chakra. But those are just a few examples. Now, the chakra system is very deep, and we can spend a lot of time going over this. So what I want to do here is I want to just give a brief summary of the chakra system and of each chakra. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a deep dive video on each and every one of these chakras, where we go into all of the characteristics, we go into the history, we dig deep into what it looks like when it's functioning perfectly and what it looks like when it's blocked. Again, one side of the spectrum or the other, so that you can then take an inventory of yourself and say, okay, well, if I believe this system and if I look at this, I look at my life through the lens of this system, because whether you believe in the chakra system or not is irrelevant. It's still a useful tool that you can use to self-examine and to self-govern, to look at your life. And you can say, well, think about it as just like another system of looking at yourself. You don't have to believe in the woo-woo aspects of it. I do, but I'm a very woo-woo person. I'm all the way out here, as one with the universe and stuff, and I'm also a guy that says the universe isn't really actually real. But again, one of these days we'll make a video about that. But I know you're dying, and you're all dying for it. But it's just a nice way that even if you don't believe in that you can look at yourself, and it's just a nice way of organizing the human body and the human mind. What medical issues do you have? What organs are affected? How do you manifest yourself? Are you on one side of the spectrum or the other for each one of these each one of these chakras, and you can actually get a snapshot of yourself by doing a self-inventory and go, well, according to the chakra system, you know, let's say my heart's good, my throat's good, you know, my third eye is totally blocked up, but my crown is a beacon and I'm just downloading the universe, you know, and my root needs some work, but my sacral's healthy, you know, and my solar plexus needs work. You can look at all those things through this spectrum and go in a snapshot, oh, well, according to this, I'm blocked in a couple of these places, and then we'll give you some practical things that you can do to assist you in these locations. And your belief in the system isn't needed. You know, it's like the Matrix where, what is it, Morpheus, you know, when Morpheus says to the one commander guy who's like, we're not giving our ships to this crazy cause, and Morpheus is like, you know, your belief is not required. Your belief of this destiny isn't required. I just need your ship. You know, it's like, I don't care if you believe it or not. Like, and in the same way, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It's still a useful tool for helping to calibrate yourself and to do that inner work, because as we know, outer is a reflection of the inner. So the more we can do the work on our insides, the more we can change the reality around us. And the same with this system. So we're going to do a deep dive, like I say, on all of it, and giving you practical things you can do. You know, some of it's going to be esoteric. Some of it might be meditate on this chakra, meditate with this particular frequency of music on this chakra. But some of it may be more practical, like practice opening your throat chakra by, if you're a shy person, stepping out of that comfort zone, digging into the childhood beliefs and the core traumas that may have prevented you from speaking your truth. You know, go out in public and talk to 5 people today. Just ask them about the weather or the time or something like that. But we'll give you practical things you can do too that will help you work with each of these chakras. Now, let's break into it. So we'll start at the top, crown, right? Crown chakra. And I've made these colors, as you may know. These colors are representative of what the chakra colors are, like I've done here, my nice pretty rainbow. Now, the yellow you might not see, so I switched to brown, like a yellow brown that I have, because the yellow just doesn't show up well on camera. I can barely see it, and I'm standing in front of the board. So, in any case, crown. So the crown chakra is your 7th, right? And it's thought to be right at the top, the crown of the head. Now, the 7th chakra is our link to the divine. It's kind of, think of it like a telephone line. Well, that's dating me. Think of it like a Wi-Fi connection to the universe, where this is where that sending, because remember, I always say the mind and the body are nothing more than an antenna to send and receive. Well, think about it as the channel to the universe, to that divine intelligence. And the more wide open that crown chakra is, the stronger our connection to the universe, to that guidance, that spirituality that we can then have received the downloads. It's also thought too that the crown is connected with, they're all connected, but the crown especially is connected to all of the chakras, that they are all wired into the crown. And in the same way, the crown is connected to all of the organs that the rest of the chakras are connected to, where each other chakra is connected to only the organs that it's specifically attached to. So it's thought to be our connection to the universe, that spiritual connection where we receive the downloads and where we send out. Now, the third eye is the 6th chakra, and it's located, we're all familiar with the third eye. It's like right, otherwise known as the brow chakra, right around this eyebrow level, is where that third eye is. Now, the third eye is similar to the crown in that it does deal with our intuition and our spiritual connection, but it's more about our seeing, our intuition on this plane versus the connection to the universe. It also deals with our imagination. This is where our imagination comes from. This is where our wisdom, that inherent wisdom that we have, comes from. It's our seeing chakra. If our third eye is fully developed, that's when, you can be an empath. Empaths have stronger third eye connection. Why? Because we are able to see the energy and emotions of others around us. And we're able to see the bullshit when people are trying to pull it on us more than those that can't. Especially if they have a closed third eye. They would be ones that would be more intending to getting taken advantage of by people because they can't sense their intentions. They can't sense the energy like empaths can. And it's not to say it's a better or worse thing. Empaths come with a whole host of their own problems as an empath, a recovering empath. I can tell you, it doesn't feel good to be able to feel everyone's energy all the time, and knowing their intentions and knowing how your actions make them feel in real time. That gets you kind of hypercritical, but you can work through that. Now, the throat chakra is the 5th. And again, right about in the middle of your throat. That deals with self-expression. That deals with speaking your truth. Living and speaking your truth. Not only is it what you say, but it's also about how you take action. Because again, you're taking action from your truth. If your throat chakra is blocked, that's when you can have a hard time speaking, telling your truth to someone. You could always be playing small for the fear of saying what you need to say. But again, the flip side of it is you could also have the babbling thing where you talk over other people. That's another symptom of the throat chakra being in and out of balance. Now, the heart chakra is the fourth. And, all of these, think about them as an alignment along the center of the body. So between, the two chest muscles is where your heart chakra is. The heart chakra is thought to be the bridge because it's right in the middle between the three upper and the three lower. So it's thought to start as the bridge between the upper and the lower chakras. But as you can suspect, the heart chakra is all about love. All about our ability to give and receive love. And that's where if you have an imbalance in the heart chakra, that can be where it's hard for you to experience and have emotional intimacy with other people. Hard to either receive or give love. When it's out of whack, you could be giving more than you're receiving. Or on the flip side, you could be receiving more than you're giving for whatever kind of dynamic you got going on, whether it's beliefs, childhood stuff, trauma, etc. All of these things, any of that stuff can set off any of these chakras because, again, the chakra system is simply another way to look at our configuration. Just like the zodiac signs are a way to look at who we are. Just like astrology as a whole is another way to look at who we are and who we're busy being. Just like psychology is a way to look at who we are busy being. All of these different things are just different lenses we can put over ourselves to see and reorganize our characteristics such that if we look from one particular lens, it could be much more helpful to us than another one. That each lens will reveal different truths to us about ourselves and our being. And that's where the chakras are useful, whether you believe with the energy or not. Now, the solar plexus is the third chakra, and that's quite literally ties into your solar plexus where it's right at the bottom of that rib cage. You have a bundle of nerves there. I just knocked the mic. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. There's a bundle of nerves here. If you get hit in the solar plexus, you could temporarily go unconscious for a few seconds at least because so many nerves come into here. The solar plexus chakra is all about your power and your self-confidence. This is where your personal power manifests. If you have a healthy solar plexus chakra, you've got no problem going out and kind of in that, not in a bad way, but that conquering vibe, that you can go out and take action and manifest in this real physical world what you're trying to do. It's also the place we manifest wealth from. Yes, there is something to do with money in the root chakra, and we'll get to that, but that's more about the survival level of money, where the solar plexus is more about, I'm going to make it rain. I'm going to go be a successful business person. I'm going to go start that YouTube channel, and I'm going to make, I'm going to make my living doing that, or I'm going to go do things, and I'm going to reach for more, than just the base level of survival. So that's the solar plexus. And the sacral chakra is the second. That's about 2 inches below the belly button. You can think about it. And if you don't have an actual belly, a gut like I do, if you had a six pack, it would be that 2 inches below the belly button. And all these are more along the core of our body, these energy centers, but they're energy, so they radiate. But the 2 inches below the belly button is your sacral chakra. Sacral chakra is all about sexuality and emotions. So again, an imbalanced sacral chakra would lead to someone who is afraid of sexuality and afraid of their sexual power, so they're not, engaging in it, whether that's from trauma or if that's from childhood or whatever, you get that. And on the flip side, then you get like the sex addict side of it, where it's out of balance in the other direction, and someone that's just indulging in, sex, every day, every minute. Like that's the other imbalance of it. And it's also your emotional chakra. That's where your emotions manifest from. It's also our area for pleasure and self-worth as it relates to like our emotions and our sexuality. Where the solar plexus is self-confidence, the sacral is more about self-worth because it's the emotional side of it, where the self-confidence is more the mental side of it. And then we get into the root chakra. The root chakra you could think of as the base of the tailbone, but again, towards the center of the body. It's the very root. The root chakra is the foundation, Doesn't matter. You could have all these other chakras fully open like beacons to the universe. If your root chakra is closed, you're going to have problems because it's the foundation. It is the foundation upon which all the other ones stack. So if your root is messed up, it's going to mess up everything. So a lot of us, especially when you start shadow work and you start inner child healing and you start processing and recovering from the trauma of childhood, if you've experienced it, and if you're watching this channel, you probably have, your root chakra is normally out of whack because the root chakra is all about survival. It's the foundation. It deals with food, shelter, and money, but money as far as our survival of money. When our root chakra is in balance and in harmony, we are confident. We are stable. It's the stability, it's the stable foundation that we can launch the rest of our life from. When the root chakra is in harmony, we don't worry about food. We don't worry about shelter. And we're not worrying about money insofar as paying our existing bills, feeding ourselves, sheltering ourselves, clothing ourselves, and even having a little extra to save. You know, that's even not having the saving, but just being able to pay for all your basic necessities, and you're not busy worrying mentally about money insofar as where your next meal is coming from. That is having a balanced root chakra. If your root chakra is imbalanced, that's where, and again, this normally comes from dysfunctional childhood, unstable childhood, trauma related to childhood. I've lived all of these things, so believe me, I know. You know, any kind of anything, you know, where you lost your power, you know, where perhaps you were hurt, you were abused, you were taken advantage of, any of that from childhood and even into adulthood can crack and rock that root chakra and close it up. And that's when you have things like, you know, fears about food, you know, when you have a poverty mindset, when you don't feel safe and secure, even within your own being. That is where a lot of the shadow work, childhood trauma work, inner child healing really works on these first three chakras. And that's where most of us end up starting our workout down here. These four chakras can be in any number of configuration, but they're kind of irrelevant until you fix the bottom three. The bottom three are the core chakras. And those are the ones where, again, shadow work, inner child healing, all of that targets them, because we need to repair our root. We have to get our foundation strong, you know, with our survival, with our food, you know, with our shelter, and with our basic money, such that we then have that stability with which to then begin working on the other two. And it's not like you pick one and you work on it. Any work you do is going to work on all of them to some degree. And anything you do in these lower three will normally work on the other two. So for example, as you're working on the root chakra, you're probably going to be working on the sacral and the solar plexus at the same time. Because as your foundation strengthens, so does your manifestation of your own personal power with the sacral chakra. You know, as you work on that childhood trauma, for example, and you start to repair your sacral chakra, like I had a lot of work to repair my own sacral chakra because of, you know, like sexual abuse and stuff I had to deal with from as a child up into becoming an adult. And now I'm in a much better place. It doesn't even really bother me. At all. You know, my only hang up now is I just don't want to trigger other people talking about it. But again, to heal it, we have to feel it, and to feel it is to become aware of it. So by me mentioning it, hopefully it helps somebody out there be like, I'm in that boat too, and I'm not there yet. I haven't healed myself yet. You know, what can we do with that? And we're going to make videos on inner child healing and trauma healing too. I'm still doing more research because I want to have a good clinical psychological understanding of it before I just come out here and tell you guys what I did. You know, I healed it in myself, but I want to make sure I understand it and I can bring a safe environment for you guys for that. But anyway, as you're fixing that, well, that's going to fix the root, because as you're addressing like the sexual hangups you have, whether it's from maybe something embarrassing in high school, like, you know, if you're a guy, you know, you got with a couple girls and you were so anxious about it, you couldn't get it up, and now you got this whole hang up about it, right? Well, as you heal that sacral, it's going to make you feel more confident and your foundation strong, and vice versa. When you fix the foundation, now the sacral can be stronger. All of these are interconnected, but the lower three tend to group together, and the upper three tend to group together, and the fourth can kind of go either way. You know, once you're feeling more stable, now your heart feels safer to be open. Now your throat feels safer to speak your truth because you're more safe and secure in your foundation. So you see how they all kind of interact and interplay with each other. So what I want to do for you guys now is we're going to release a video for every chakra. And we're going to go deep on talking about what it looks like when it's out of balance. What are things you can do, both practically and on the woo-woo side of things, the energy work that you can do to help bring them back into balance and to help begin to open them. Now, in the short term, what you can do is you can go right on YouTube, and there's plenty of guided meditations from all kinds of different channels. We'll be making them too. That go over how to open these chakras, and where it's just a meditation where the meditation takes you into physically, well, not physically, but energetically opening these chakras up. You know, and as you do that, you don't want to do too much of that work too fast, because you might not notice it now, but if you start to open something, well, in order to open it, you're going to have to process some of the debris, the emotional energy debris that's stuck in some of these chakras. And as you open them, they're going to bubble up. Those impurities will bubble up to be processed, and you don't want to release all of them all at once, because then you're going to have a whole hell of a bad day and a bad week and a bad month processing. Your body, when you do shadow work, you want to bring up some of the shadow, you want to bring up some of that trauma, you want to work with it, and then your body needs to rest. Because Because although it feels good to release it, it also does, it can take a toll on you when you're working on it. And if you do too much of that all at once, you end up being incredibly ungrounded. And then it's like, then you have to work at bringing yourself down from, you know, the etheric realms and back into your body, you know. So it's better to, in my opinion, better to work on that chunks at a time. So if you're going to do chakra work, most people have issues with the first three, no doubt. So start with the root, you know, work with the root, then go to the sacral, then go to the solar plexus. And we're going to give you some more hands-on tips for all of that. So I hope you guys liked this video today. You know, we gave you a little overview of the chakra system, and keep it locked in the channel because we're going to go in a deep dive on every single one of them to give you guys some practical tips. I'm excited because I always like doing, you know, chakra work for myself, and I haven't done it in a while. So I'm going to be doing it right along with you as I research for these videos. I hope you guys make it a great day. We'll see you next time. Peace.